We've had an amazing opportunity riding so far. This marks, actually we've been out a week now, and we met a lot of wonderful people across the country, a lot of people that care about our children. And that's what this ride is all about, is about our children and how we can keep them safe. When Elizabeth returned home, it was one of the most wonderful days of our life. If a person could have asked for a miracle, that was the day that I got my miracle. And it's been amazing to see her move forward and be able to live her life and not let this mar her from doing the things that she wanted to in life. But we came together as the Adam Walsh Act was in motion in Washington. Many of us joined together, and that's what formed the Surviving Parents Coalition, because we felt that a united voice, and a big one, is going to make the difference in trying to change what is happening to our children. Shortly after Elizabeth was home, we had someone come to the front door. It turned out to be a sex offender who had just gotten out of prison the day before, claiming to have helped in our search. That kind of shook us up a little bit. About 2 or 3 months later, I met the fellow that you just saw up here. One of the local sheriffs had sent me a few letters and said, I'd like to introduce you to this fellow, and so finally, after getting numerous letters, I said okay, and he came to the front door, and I invited him in, and I listened to it, and I thought, well, that sounds good, that's great, so what do you want from me? And he said, nothing, and I proceeded to say, well, we'll see you later. Well, a few months later, my wife and I and our family were at church. Elizabeth excused herself to go to the bathroom, and when she didn't come back, we sent our daughter out to find her after about 20 or 30 minutes. Well, in the course of her making the rounds through the church, she came to a bathroom door, pushed on that door. Somebody was obviously standing on the other side, and she finally rammed and knocked this person out of the way, and there in the corner stood Elizabeth. And I heard that this woman had been asking her, well, you really ran away, didn't you? And you really loved this Brian Mitchell, didn't you? And I was absolutely amazed. And I wasn't just amazed, I was enraged. And I thought, how could anyone? I thought, you know, one of the tabloids had possibly thought they were going to get an exclusive with her in the bathroom. Well, Elizabeth just stood there. And when the girls got home, I brought them both into my office and I said, Elizabeth, I thank God that you survived however you survived, but I need you to know one thing, and that is that nobody has the right to do this to you. And I want to hear you both scream, and they screamed as loud as they could. And I said, you know, Elizabeth, when you think about what happened to you, and when I thought about it, I thought, you know, Elizabeth tried to get away at first, and through the threats of her own life, her sister's life, her family's life, she became what you might call compliant. In other words, she was willing to do what they said because she didn't want to see her family hurt. And I think that many of the children out there that are abducted are somehow coerced into thinking they have some responsibility at what has happened to them. And they feel that they can't tell anyone because it's going to hurt them, either by the perpetrator hurting them or hurt their family. And so anyway, I thought, you know, when we look at all the children out there in America, there are so many that are going to stand there and become the next victim. There are going to be those that yell. There are going to be those that run away. How do we get everyone on the same page? And the bottom line came down to, I called up Steve Daly and I said, I want to have that Rad Kids taught to my kids. And we invited all the kids in our neighborhood over, and they were taught the program. And I watched and saw what was happening. The bottom line is, it wasn't just telling, it was teaching. It was hands-on. It was making those children realize what they could do, what their choices and options were. Because it's not at the time of abduction, it's not at the time of abuse or rape that they need to know that. They need to know beforehand. And we need to teach them life skills, which I truly believe the Rad Kids program does. And our motto, as has been said, not one more child. It usually seems that the next headline on the news is, child abducted, child murdered. Those are the things that make the headlines. And what we want to do is child saved. It didn't even happen because children know what they can do. And that's what it's all about. I'm